Surrounded by ridges at 17,000 feet above sea level, a group of heavily armed infiltrators were perched atop the ledges. Ledges with steep 80-degree near vertical inclines and razor-sharp edges on either side. Recapturing point 4875 was crucial because sitting here, the infiltrators could dominate the road to Leh and also control access to the Mushko Valley. Given their vantage position, they could easily inflict heavy casualties on Indian troops as they could watch each and every move made by the Indian Army. Captain Vikram Batra of 13 Jammu and Kashmir Rifles volunteered to carry out the mission of wresting back point 4875 from the intruders. Earlier, on 19 June 1999, Captain Batra and his fellow fighters had snatched point 5140, a strategic peak in the Kargil sector, from right under the enemy's nose.
On the 19th of June 1999, both the companies Bravo and Delta led the assault for the capture of point 5140. Even though terrain was extremely difficult, the gradient was very, very steep. Vikram Batra led from the front.
Hey, companies success ki nalwazi ye dil mange more. The guys were so.
He was always a go-getter, a volunteer. Would like to always volunteer for carrying out any ambushes, raids. He was always a big go-getter.
For over 36 hours, Lieutenant Naveen and his men were engaged in a fierce gun battle with the militants.
Though we had reached the top, the enemy had a bunker which was constructed right on the mouth of this ledge. If we have to capture 4875, the only way is to launch frontally along that ledge, which was suicidal actually. Captain Naveen, who was in the forwardmost area, he got injured. The enemy had thrown a grenade and it fell on his leg, and his leg was very badly damaged. At this time, on the morning of 7th of July, Vikram Batra was tasked to lead a patrol to this area and see that how we can circumvent and capture the entire 4875.
Captain Vikram Batra and his men immediately took charge and evacuated Lieutenant Naveen.
The enemy was trying his psychological warfare on us.
Captain Vikram Batra carried on from where Lieutenant Naveen had left, raining bullets at the enemy. The enemy taunted Captain Batra, saying that if India handed over Bollywood actress Madhuri Dixit, they would leave the place forever. To this, Captain Batra gave a fitting reply. In the heat of the battle, Captain Vikram Batra decided to surprise the enemy and do the impossible.
Now, when he went to that area, apparently, now I can visualize, he realized that there was simply just no way. There was no way we could circumvent this ledge. An impulsive, go-getter, impulsive man that he was, he immediately assaulted through that only approach to that area which was being dominated by the enemy Sangar.
He single-handedly killed 5 infiltrators, shooting at them from a point-blank range. However, he too sustained grave injuries in the attack. Unmindful of his injuries, he charged forward. And then, an artillery splinter pierced his waist, and Captain Vikram Batra collapsed. That very moment, India lost one of its finest fighters.
He didn't bother for his own life and made the supreme sacrifice. And with vengeance, the entire company launched an assault through that ledge, through the foothold which Vikram Batra had given to us, and captured the entire .4875.
On 26 January 2000, on the occasion of Republic Day, Captain Vikram Batra was posthumously awarded India's highest gallantry award, the Param Veer Chakra. Captain Vikram Batra's gallantry is now a part of the Indian Army's legends. They are the legends of courage, bravery, and supreme sacrifice. The Army is a force that defends the country against all external threats and aggression. A force that works untiringly so that around 1 billion Indians can carry on pursuing their dreams safely and securely. The National Geographic Channel now brings to you what you've never seen before. The Indian Army from the inside. The Indian Army, the world's second largest standing army in terms of active manpower, is also India's largest defense force. With around 11 lakh soldiers in active service and about 10 lakh reserve troops, it is also the largest volunteer army in the world.
Yuddhai Krit Nishchaya, that is, into battle with resolve.
It has extreme operational versatility. Guarding around 3.3 million square kilometers of geographical area, the Indian Army can hold its ground in all possible terrains and weather conditions, be it the plains, deserts, mountains, snow-capped peaks, or dense jungles.
I joined this organization for the adventure part of it, the action part of it, which I am getting, and I keep striving to get it more and more.
अपना देश को भी सेवा करने के लिए अच्छा लगता है, इसलिए हमने आर्मी ज्वाइन किया है.
Life in the army has been one great learning experience.
It's very challenging. It is very difficult. Somebody has to do it, and I'm glad that I'm doing this job.
The Indian Army serves the country not just as an armed force, it has many faces. It provides aid during natural calamities, responds to threats to the country's internal security, upholds secular values, and is home to several athletes who have brought laurels to the country in competitive sports.
Since childhood, I've been motivated by the flaunting uniforms and the salutes and whatever is associated with the army. I feel motivated when I go and interact with my friends. I feel respected.
Being in the army to me means sense of pride and confidence in myself that I'd always wanted.
People look at him in such a manner where they consider him to be a very disciplined man.
The leadership qualities which I've developed over time and the confidence it's taken me somewhere else. I cannot relate to any other job I would have done anywhere in this world.
Our horse has challenged all mountains. Now they don't challenge us. They are friendly to us.
Nat Geo takes you into this force that nurtures daredevils like these.
Nothing known as a mountain. There's nothing known as a river.
Men and women who are forever ready to go beyond their own limits and let their spirits soar high in the limitless sky.
मुश्किल तो होता है सर, लेकिन हिम्मत और हौसला नहीं छोड़ना चाहिए. हिम्मत और हौसले से आगे का कुछ नहीं है.
Men and women who put their nation before everything else.
Be it even if it means to the peril of his life, if he has to die. If your task is allotted that, okay, he knows I'm going to die, but he still goes ahead and still fights. That is what makes an army man.
We often call them Desh Ke Rakshak.
मैं इस बड़े इवेंट में पार्टिसिपेट करने आया because I feel that you had a few things to prove in your life.
आर्मी इसलिए ज्वाइन करना चाहता हूँ कि it's fascinating.
Even my dad was in the army. I'm very passionate to serve my country.
Proud to be part of this.
एनडीए के टाइम पे सीरियसली लिया नहीं, उसके बाद चांस बराबर मिला नहीं, तो भी ये एक आखिरी चांस.
I came here basically for this.
अगर आर्मी नहीं है तो देश नहीं है.
I feel that I have that stamina to beat the guys.
I've never tried to be in an army ever.
I am physically fit to take part in this.
1999 के कारगिल वॉर के बारे में भी पढ़ा है.
I really want to be there fighting for my own country.
Nat Geo's Mission Army, Desh Ke Rakshak, offers Indian citizens a rarest of the rare opportunity to experience the Indian Army like never before.
पहले पैसों के अलावा कुछ सोचा ही नहीं, मगर अभी वो गलती नहीं करनी है. अभी कुछ और भी सोचना है, और वो भी आर्मी.
The main aim for this Mission Army is to see the IMA Dehradun, which is not possible for girls anyhow to get there.
From thousands of entries all over India.
जयपुर, गुजरात, हिमाचल प्रदेश, उत्तराखंड, मलाबाद, जबलपुर, पुणे, ग्वालियर, मुंबई,
लद्दाख से आए.
500 most suitable candidates would be tested at each of the 3 selection centers in Delhi, Mumbai and Bengaluru. 5 top-ranking performers would be shortlisted from each of these 3 centers. And from these 15, only the best 5 will remain. The 5 chosen ones. The 5 warriors of Nat Geo Mission Army, Desh Ke Rakshak.
Since childhood, it has my dream to join the army. The true sense of achievement would lie when I join the Indian Armed Forces.
Only 5 will get to live life as an army officer for the next 30 days. They'll train as officers. They'll drive tanks, fire field guns, acquire and destroy enemy targets, conduct ambush in dense jungles, get airdropped in unknown territories, and learn to neutralize the enemy. They will plan and execute operations with military precision. They will see what few have ever seen. And they will do what no civilian has ever done before. They will get to experience what army life is like, its culture, its customs and traditions. They will learn that often victory in battle comes down to the individuals behind the war machines. At every stage, these 5 warriors shall be trained and assessed by the most experienced military officers in India. Their stamina would be stretched to the limits. Their mental faculties would be challenged. They shall undergo trial by fire to prove themselves worthy of the uniform they'll get to wear for 1 month. Of these 5, only one shall remain. The one with the killer and winner instinct. And he or she will have the rare honor of being part of an international mission of the Indian Army. What makes the Indian Army the potent force that it is? What forms the foundation of the world's 2nd largest army? To know all this and more, keep watching. modern Indian Army's foundations were laid in the early 16th century. The present-day Indian Army came into being when India gained independence on the 15th of August 1947. Army was thrown into a war with Pakistan within just 10 weeks of its formation when Pakistani forces invaded parts of the border state of Jammu and Kashmir on October 26, 1947. The Zozila War Memorial is a silent witness to the Indian Army's recapture of the Himalayan Pass in 1948. In April 1948, the hostile had planned and carried out a well-coordinated operation of capturing Kargil and Dras. The great central Indian trade route lay open to the enemy. At this time, one of the Indian Army's battalions was rushed to hold the Zozila Pass. Any infantry assault against well-dug enemy bunkers overlooking the pass would mean heavy casualties. And so came the birth of an idea that first seemed impossible. That of taking armor up to Zozila Pass and making it spearhead the front.
To attack and capture there as soon as possible.
No words can do justice to the unique skill and resourcefulness of the men who built the road up to the pass. In a memorable action that started one morning, in the face of a driving blizzard, tank armor for the first time appeared at 10,000 feet above sea level. Having achieved complete surprise, the tanks opened up major fire at enemy positions and forced the enemy to run in all directions. By morning, small pockets of enemy were surrounded with no hope of escape. This operation could not have succeeded without the relentless daring of the fighting men. The Indian Army has since fought two more full-fledged wars with Pakistan in 1965 and again in 1971. December 16th is celebrated as Vijay Divas, or the Day of Victory, every year. It was on this day in 1971 that the Commander-in-Chief of East Pakistan, General A.A.K. Niazi, surrendered before the Indian Army, paving the way for the birth of a new nation, Bangladesh. Led by battle-hardened military veterans, the successes of the Indian Army can be safely attributed to its professional leadership.
Our motto is in IMA, which Field Marshal Chetwood gave, the welfare and honor of your country comes first, always and every time. Welfare of your men comes next, and your own welfare comes last, always and every time.
So what does it take to don this uniform? Become an officer and lead men who'll do anything at just one command of their superiors.
Motivation. A feeling of nationalism and pride for the nation. Integrity. Care for moral values that the army has. And you require a feeling of altruism for the organization.
This hopeful lot may think that they have got what it takes.
I do 60 kilometers of running.
I am physically fit to take part in this.
The seasoned selectors from the army know how to separate men and women of substance from the crowd.
I feel that I have that stamina to beat the guys.
मेरा नाम मोलम ग्याचो है और हम लद्दाख से आए हैं। मैं इतने दूर से आया हूँ तो मुझे लगता है कि आपको हमें लेना ही चाहिए और मुझे तो ये भी लगता है कि आप लोग और कोशिश करें कि लद्दाखियों को और भी अच्छा ट्रेनिंग करें क्योंकि हम तो बॉर्डर पे रहने वाले हैं।
मेरे में आज इतना जज्बा है कि मैं इतना आगे जाऊंगा ना कोई नहीं मुझे पकड़ पाएगा। भारत माता की
To help choose the candidates, a special task force from the army has been assigned the job. Lieutenant Colonel Ravindraman, Lieutenant Colonel Veerabhadran, Colonel M.N. Nehru, Colonel Lobsang Nima. To test the grit of these aspirants lining up at Mission Army selection centers in Delhi, Mumbai and Bengaluru, the Special Task Force has designed specific tasks that need to be accomplished for one to move to the next level. For only the best among the best will get to experience the Army way of life. The selection tests have been scientifically designed, tested and refined by the Indian Army over the years to precisely check out one's physical and mental endurance, personality traits, psychological profile and medical fitness as per the Army's stringent parameters. Who all will manage to meet the Army's tough selection benchmarks and who will find it tough to meet the standards? All this and more after the break. Keep watching. Mission Army seeks to find the best 5 warriors from amongst thousands.
Everybody can hear me? Welcome to Mission Army Desh Ke Rakshak. You will be put through a number of tests here. The first test will be 2-kilometer run. All ready? All shoelaces tight? The first aspect is endurance. Now endurance run, you see Indian Army is operating in varying terrains. Now, whatever be the terrain, importance of physical endurance is very much there.
Physical endurance is of prime importance as army men need to survive and operate, often in extreme circumstances. Hence, the candidates have to match up to the tough and uncompromising standards of the Indian Army. The aspirants line up to kick off their adrenaline-pumping journey, hoping to make it to the final 5.
Ready? Steady! Go! Go! When one is involved in an endurance run, it is just not the physical part. The limbs can carry a person only that much. It is the mind and willpower which are of prime importance.
I've never ever ran this way. My goodness. At least I have come up half. More than half. Oh.
Just realized that I'm not fit for the army. I cannot even run for 2 kilometers.
Kashwa always wins the race. Thank you.
For some, the journey ended even before the finishing line. But few carried on, eager for a place in the final 5. Those with strong willpower and mental robustness should manage well. These are the essential qualities that the Army is looking for.
रेस बिल्कुल अच्छी रही मुझे नहीं लग रहा था कि मैं 100 में से 5 में आ जाऊंगा
Monlam Gyatso from Ladakh did quite well initially and could have made it to the top 5 from Delhi. However, he seems to have missed out on something crucial. Acclimatization.
मुझे लगता है altitude से आया हूँ पानी
What they say is don't be a Gama in the land of the Lama. We do our acclimatization and then only a person is inducted to the post.
The atmospheric pressure decreases with an increase in the altitude. The air is thin, so there is less oxygen to breathe than at sea level. The human body has to thus work harder to breathe sufficient oxygen and therefore needs time to adjust. The Indian Army acclimatizes its men over a 14-day schedule. Those coming from higher altitudes with cool climates to relatively warmer climates also need to acclimatize. Monlam Gyatso came from an altitude of 11,500 feet to about 713 feet. Had he acclimatized himself to the heat beforehand, his story might have been different.
He's not able to just acclimatize to this atmosphere, so I think he must take off.
Monlam's dream of embarking on Mission Army has ended rather abruptly.
I'm feeling great. I won. I'm completing 100 people. Very feeling great.
The candidates have completed their first task enthusiastically. Looking exhausted and feeling drained, they are now getting ready for the next task.
Very exhausting. It's been long. I actually raced. I came number 9. Not very good, but it's not bad. Hoping to have a lot of physical activities today.
The next physical test we are having is the push-up test, in which we are able to check the upper body strength of every individual.
Upper body strength is a must for an army man. From scaling peaks to lifting heavy weapons and equipment, a soldier needs to rely on his upper body strength all the time. Mission Army candidates had to hug the earth the army way.
5 up, down, down, 5 up,
After checking out the candidates' physical strength, it's time to tickle their brains.
In stage 1, I shall introduce you on a model. Try to understand the various features of the model.
Now this off-white color indicates the general open countryside that you see when you travel in a train and look outside.
You're a group of students from village Ghanari. You're going attend an inter-college football match in a local train. When the Sontu forest is about to finish, your train stops with a big jump somewhere here. While you were deciding what to do, a lady comes from the railway coach in a breathless condition.
He saw a few suspicious-looking men.
Bus service from village Sonpur to Dhamnagar is after every even hour.
And there's no mobile connectivity in this area. As bold young students, what will you do?
The group planning exercise helps selectors find out a candidate's risk-taking and creative problem-solving ability. It also tells a lot about his or her capacity to work in a team. During the group discussions that follow, the selectors watch out for people who can communicate better and convince others tactfully and politely. They also value people flexible enough to adopt ideas superior to their own.
सब डिवाइडेड हो गए थे ग्रुप 2 ग्रुप में उधर से वो हैरी उठ रहा था इधर से ये उठ रही थी तो कोई बीच में से आधे इनको सपोर्ट कर रहे थे उधर से वो उनको सपोर्ट कर रहे थे
Gentlemen, you got last 1 minute.
After heated discussions, the team leaders present their strategies.
Now the person who gives the group plan is a candidate who has been chosen by consensus from the group members. Now such a candidate, one thing is like he has been accepted by the group as one person who can represent the group, and he will be the person who can comprehensively give the plan on the lines how the discussion progressed and whatever was agreed upon.
And we can also reach for the football match on time.
So this way we see a candidate who is acceptable and who has got certain amount of intellectual capability.
Group planning is followed by a progressive group task. The progressive group task is a reliable barometer for checking out officer-like qualities, hands-on approach, intelligence, practical imagination, keeping cool under pressure, socio-emotional intelligence, presence of mind, ability to follow rules and aptitude for teamwork.
Start from the start line and reach the finish line in 15 minutes time. Your time starts now.
In this task, the candidates are launched into a obstacle system. Now they are supposed to work out the practical solutions to a practical problem amongst themselves through their discussions, and they have to execute this as well. There are many candidates who learn about levers in class 6th and 7th and 8th. Now in the outdoor task, when they are actually confronting a practical task which can translate their bookish knowledge into something which is practical, many of them are not able to do it.
This can be climbed easily.
Whereas some people who may not be very good in academics, they will be able to apply themselves, see on the ground as to how they can relate their helping material with the structures that are available. Some of them will be just onlookers, some of them will be helping on a physical plane, some of them will be giving ideas but not actually moving forward. And some of them who will be actual leaders will be the ones who can collate the ideas, give their own ideas, as well as try and work out a solution and do it also. Depending on the the progress of the task, the leaders will start emerging out on their own.
Mission Army is now inching closer to finding its final 5 aspirants from each city.
Okay, now you are a strength of 40. You are going in for the next lot for the interview.
Interview is more, you can get out the aspects of reasoning ability, communication skills, practical intelligence. Why did you join this mission?
I joined this mission because I wanted to be close to Army.
Many dreams, but one of my dreams are joining Indian Army, becoming an NSC officer.
Want to serve my country in the coming times.
There are many reasons behind joining Army, like the sexy outfit of the Army person.
Can you name the ranks down to up?
Start from Lieutenant, Captain, Major, Lieutenant Colonel, Colonel, Brigadier, Major General, Lieutenant General, General, and the Field Marshal of Indian Army. It's a ceremonial.
You are a lot which has gone through a considerable filtration process. Now I think you are eagerly awaiting your results.
Yes, sir. Rudrash Sengupta, Rohan Vijay, Alpha Jwala, Nupur.
Mission Army has finally shortlisted 15 contenders, 5 each from Delhi, Mumbai and Bengaluru.
Gruesome day, tedious tasks. Among the top 5, we are here.
The Mumbai audition was completed. I got through. I was one of the top 5, and yeah, it was fun. Though शुरू में काफी हालत बुरी थी, but eventually everything turned out good.
Mummy, here is my grad. I'm going to Delhi, and I'm going to win this.
I don't know, I won this. Nothing means more to me right now. It's right now the best thing. I mean, I couldn't have expected more.
When I got up today morning, I was thinking about last 5 finalists, and that is it. I am there now.
Sir said we're supposedly the cream of Mumbai, so we'll have the cream of India competing with us on the next round.
The journey for these 15 hopefuls has just about begun, for there are challenges ahead. Who survives and who drops out? Keep watching.
Let's see what comes out now.
These 15 finalists from 3 cities will now have to go through a series of stringent medical tests at Delhi's Army Hospital.
Football में एक fracture हुआ था. I hope that doesn't come into the way.
मैंने घर में बताया है, वो बहुत एक्साइटेड है आज के दिन के लिए कि मेडिकल टेस्ट में क्या आउट होता है. एंड आई एम फीलिंग वेरी हंग्री राइट नाउ. हम लोग को बोला है कि मेडिकल टेस्ट के लिए एम्प्टी स्टमक जाना है.
Delhi's Army Hospital Research and Referral, popularly known as RR Hospital, is one of the finest and most advanced hospitals of India, catering to all the 3 defense services. It is also responsible for looking after the health and well-being of the President of India, who is also the Supreme Commander of all the armed forces.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, congratulations on completing your ground selection test.
Thank you, sir.
I'm Lieutenant Colonel Ranjit Nair. I'm a nephrologist, and Major Aarti Sahni. The 2 of us are going to be coordinating the conduct of your medical examination. The medical examination for an officer candidate is basically done not just to detect any disease. We also aim to try and detect disabilities, which, though currently unobvious, can be unmasked later because of the stress and strain that military service puts on the individual. You would be surprised to know that the average rates of rejection on medical grounds almost reaches 30%. That means out of every 100 candidates, almost 30 candidates do not make it.
In all the previous tests, the candidates knew how well or badly they have performed. But here, they just don't know. They're all here because they did well in the selection tests. But what about their body? Seasoned hands helped by sophisticated testing and diagnostic equipment are out to detect even the slightest abnormality.
183. There are basic standards of height that have been mentioned. The weapons that are available are made for a particular body structure. An individual who is shorter than 153 centimeters may not be able to handle the standard weapons. Similarly, various other things like the trenches, the dugouts which are there, are of particular dimensions. Thereafter, we look at the respiratory system. We examine the chest. We look for the shape of the chest. We examine the circumference of the chest and look for how well the chest can be expanded with a single breath. Take a deep breath.
The chest has to expand sufficiently to breathe in enough air. This is necessary as a soldier has to walk, run, trek, carry battle loads and climb mountains. If he fails to inhale enough oxygen, he would get exhausted in no time and turn into a liability for his buddies. Also, the air is thin at high-altitude battle zones, which means there is less oxygen. If someone's lungs are not expanding to the optimum, he shall suffer oxygen deprivation. This would seriously compromise his own safety as well as his battlefield performance.
The surgeon basically looks at the external genitalia, the limbs, if the bones are all right. Say supposing people have knock knees or people have toes which are hammer toes or claw toes, or their toes are like deviated from the normal. These are all reasons for making these candidates unfit. Thereafter, they are supposed to look at the way the limbs are angled.
Check to kuch kar rahe the, definitely. Very serious mahol inside. I told him I'm nervous, but there was no response from him.
Both hands on your chest. Lift your head now.
So we are looking at creating a human resource which allows us to have a fit army which can serve in all terrains. If you have a candidate who has knock knees, we need to detect it early at this time, because when they undergo a strenuous training in the hilly terrain, when they have to run long distances with their weapons, they have an abnormal strain on their knees, which may start affecting their joints. From initially itself, we need to be sure that they will not have an abnormality which will interfere in performance of their efficient duties.
Maintain this posture till I tell you. Up, the thigh up please. Heel of your front foot will touch the toe of your back foot while you look straight ahead. Tight, tight, tighter. Fine. Don't break my fingers. A soldier needs to have a keen eyesight. You need to spot the enemy from far and shoot him from far.
If you do not have good eyesight, you will be a very bad target, or rather you will be a very good target for the others.
DHLENCTPALO.
The other things which people do not realize is color perception. We are born thinking this is blue, this is red, this is green. We do not know what exactly is red color. Is it the same as what others see? So the eye specialists have specific charts with which they can check the color perception of an individual.
Let's say somewhere in the jungles, if a person is properly camouflaged, so to have good color vision, one is able to differentiate between the minor color hues and probably detect, and this could be the difference between life and death for a person once he's in the field.
21, 85.
A soldier must have a sound sense of hearing in both the ears. The ear canal and eardrums should be free of any damages and deformities.
42, 41, 45.
A soldier must be able to clearly hear a wide range of sounds, from a low whisper to a loud bang and all the other sounds in between. The ability to hear clearly can often mean the difference between life and death, victory and defeat in combat situations. The capability to detect the source and direction of sound can be useful in locating targets and estimating their distance for launching attacks.
थोड़ी देर में रिजल्ट आने वाला है मेडिकल का, जो बताएंगे कि कौन बाहर है कौन अंदर है या
देखो anxious.
Why so serious?
The medical board is ready with the results. All the 15 candidates are holding their breath, anxiety written all over their face, for there is no way anyone can predict his or her results. Will their bodies let them down now, when they are so close to fulfilling their aspirations? Who all would get to be a part of Mission Army's Final 5? And how many of them would be packing their bags for the journey back home? The medical board is ready with the verdict.
They have found your cardiac murmur in your heart, that you got an extra sound. Unfortunately, we'll have to make you unfit for it. You will not be able to continue with this.
Thank you.
I'm unfit.
Cardiac murmur. So that was the reason they stated for me being medically unfit.
I must congratulate you. You're fit. Oh, thanks. You're fit. All this. You're fit.
Thank you, sir.
To undergo the course, Mission Army.
Thank you, sir.
It was good. I'm declared medically fit. I'm really excited.
You have a condition known as hyperhidrosis, that is excessive sweating. You see, unfortunately, you will not be able to do things like holding a weapon, climbing up a rope. You know, the palms get slippery.
I have applied for Army SSB, Special Entry NCC Cadets, but the interview is scheduled on January, so not yet come, sir.
So we have to make you medically unfit.
Sir.
I'm sorry.
Sir, is it a permanent rejection or a temporary?
This is a permanent rejection
because permanent.
Your condition is unlikely to improve.
It means I cannot join armed forces.
Yes, that is right.
Okay, sir. It's a permanent rejection. That means I cannot join the defense forces anymore.
Midun George comes out disappointed.
You're medically fit.
Selected and fit. Yes! Yeah! Top 5. And watch out, Najio. I will be top 1.
Your toe is slightly deviated to the left.
And fit.
You've been found medically fit.
Fit.
Okay, Sayyid Yasin, right?
Yes, sir.
And I must tell you that in all other specialities, things are okay.
Yes, sir.
Except that there's a bit of a problem with the hearing.
Yeah, left jaw.
So from the Army's point of view and also from Mission Army's point of view, I'm sorry, we'll have to declare you medically unfit.
It's time to go home for those who couldn't match up to the Army's medical standards. Mission Army is now left with 10 fully fit youngsters who can take in the grind. But are they all really fighting fit for the journey ahead? That needs to be checked out because Mission Army has space for just 5.
Mission Army, here I come.
The hunt that began with thousands has now shrunk to just 10. What more will these 10 have to do to prove themselves yet again by outdoing their competitors? Keep watching. Rajputana Rifle Center in New Delhi is where Mission Army will find its final 5. The make or break moment has come.
मिशन आर्मी का आज ये आपका आखिरी पड़ाव है.
They need to negotiate obstacles before going any further. The sheer purpose of this exercise is to check the coordination between their body and mind. They'll be walking on razor's edge all the time.
This is our last step for Mission Army.
I'm pretty confident.
I hope I'm fit enough to do this.
The boys were the first ones to take the challenge.
On your marks, set.
Even though Pune's Rohan was the first to jump off the 6-feet wall, Kuldeep from Delhi gives a tough chase to lead the pack.
पहले अपने प्लॉट में जैसे गांव में होता है खेतों में तो बाउंड्री बनाते हैं तो कूदता था अमरूद चोरी करता था तो ठीक है काम आ गया आज.
I am 2 positions behind what I would want to be first. I'm third. There are more. I'm going to become better.
Harmukh is surprised at the result. The girls too have to negotiate similar obstacles.
एक ही जगह थी जहाँ से हम लोग सब जा रहे थे तो जिसका चांस लग रहा था वही वॉल से वहाँ पे पैर लगा के जंप मारा था तो मेरे को पहले चांस मिल गया तो I got first.
Dehradun's Nupur, who wants to be an army engineer, manages to break the jinx. Finally,
Nupur got a chance. She did it. फिर मैं आई भाग के दोबारा नेक्स्ट टाइम मेरा हो गया. Then I thought कि मैं नुपुर को शायद ओवरटेक कर पाऊँ, but नहीं हुआ. I tried my best. हम लोग बहुत पास में रहती नो फर्स्ट थ्री, तो I came third. It's nice, quite nice experience.
Shubhangi, a fashion designer from Delhi, decides to call it a day.
जब कभी हमें फौज में नदी नाले इत्यादि पार करने होते हैं और पैदल चलने का कोई रास्ता ना हो तो बर्मा ब्रिज का इस्तेमाल किया जाता है.
This is not the Burma Bridge of a tourist-friendly adventure camp. For one is totally on his own. No harnesses to protect you and no soft landings. One mistake and you plunge straight into the Nala. Mission Army candidates are given 3 minutes to cross the Burma Bridge. Harmukh, hailing from an army family, has what it takes to live up to this challenge.
देख के पता लग रहा होगा मैं शेक कर रही हूँ अभी भी ऊपर भी मैं ऐसे ही शेक कर रही थी तो ऐसा लग रहा था पता नहीं कब मैं नीचे चली जाऊंगी पानी के अंदर
Though she looks shaken, but she is second to none when it comes to crossing the obstacle.
34, 35, 36, 37 up.
I felt scared at the height. So it went okay, I think. I am the only one who took 3 minutes.
ऑडिशन से लेकर अभी तक का सबसे toughest and most exciting task by far.
The next task is a combination of 2 obstacles. That is ladder followed by jump and swing.
मैंने इससे पहले भी ये किया हुआ है.
This is really tough.
Rope, ladder, jump and swing is a timed task. Ela, an army officer's daughter, is determined to know what it takes to be in her father's shoes.
I climbed the ladder, I think my timing was pretty good. Once I climbed up, I really don't know what happened. I got stuck.
All was going well for Mumbai's Rudrashish Sengupta till things took a quirky turn at the top.
So I was stuck. I had to come back on this side, then come down.
Rudrashish almost fell down, so he somehow got saved. He was stuck up there for like quite a few seconds.
Raghav Sareen from Mumbai is giving his best to be amongst the winning 5.
When you climb up, you have to turn yourself and again climb down with the help of ladder. So I think that is difficult.
Rohan, a fitness club owner, is out to prove his fitness for the job.
ये टार्जन जंप टाइप का था कुछ तो वो मुझसे हुआ नहीं मैं गड्ढे में गिर गई
The 30-feet wall is the final task for the day. This is the do-or-die moment that could seal the fate of 5 contestants.
This obstacle has been designed to instill a sense of confidence and also to overcome the fear of heights. This obstacle requires a coordination between your eyes, legs and your hands.
It is tough. All the endurance and analytical skills of a candidate will be tested to its limits.
Rudrashish covered the time he lost in the previous task by climbing the wall like a pro.
पिछले टास्क में I just slipped from the rope and then I have little bruises on my hand.
करते समय तो कुछ प्रॉब्लम नहीं हुआ बट आई थिंक व्हाइल कमिंग डाउन मेरे 1-2 स्टेप्स जो है वो मिस हो गए
Yes, I think that I have done it in a fixed timing.
The competition was cutthroat. The candidates left no stone unturned and pulled out all stops to remain in the reckoning.
बहुत close competition होगा शायद.
I did it. I can't rate myself the quickest.
कहीं तो stand करूँगी at least. So I'm just hoping for the best.
I don't know if I have a chance or not. Let's see the results.
And now, top 5.
The Indian Army's Director General Military Intelligence is here to announce the results and welcome the final 5 into the Army. Nat Geo's Mission Army has found its 5 warriors. Who are these 5 who will experience this formidable force? Five who will be groomed at some of the finest military institutions in the world. Five who will be worthy of a golden opportunity to be a part of the world's finest army. 5 who'll train in demolishing the enemy and achieving the impossible, and shape up not only as an officer but also as a gentleman for life. Nat Geo's Mission Army will be back next week to take you and the 5 warriors inside the Indian Army.
Contact!
My name's Captain Ben Mindorf. I'm the commander of Golf Company, 2nd Battalion, 5th Marines. Right around 185 Marines right now. We're the ones that do the fighting, up close and personal.
This year, while tens of thousands of American troops withdraw from Afghanistan after more than a decade of fighting, Captain Ben Middendorf and his men's 2nd Platoon, Golf Company 2-5, are staying behind to continue the fight. They're taking the fight directly to the Taliban. Their mission, locate, disrupt, and destroy the enemy.
Again, I cannot emphasize enough the importance of doing this mission. I know it's late in the war. I know the Marines asked the why. We're still at war, and we got to manipulate this thing so we can execute and retrograde and get out of here in the right way.
Out here, you up. Marines die. And that weighs pretty heavily on me.
Gentlemen, again, we're going in with 1,000 Marines into this place. They are not going to be able to handle battalion reinforced of United States Marines going in here. They can't. I'm looking forward to this fight, because I'm going to smoke check these.
Middendorf's been in the military for 16 years. This is his 3rd time in Afghanistan. But in 10 hours, he's heading out on Operation Branding Iron, his most dangerous op yet. They must eliminate a Taliban safe haven in the Zamindawar region, widely known as one of the most dangerous places in Afghanistan. The Afghan National Security Forces have no presence in Zamindawar, leaving it under Taliban control. It's crucial in the Taliban's opium operations, which fund their war against the Americans. The Taliban have the advantage here. They know the terrain, blend in with the general population, and have had years to prepare their defenses. Middendorf hasn't had any fatalities yet.
The range of emotions you go through in the hours before getting on a helicopter to go land behind enemy territory and then start an assault is you cannot convey those thoughts to someone whose life has truly never been in danger. I mean, these are the only guys I can talk to about, and it's the same way for them.
Like his 1st Lieutenant Neil Jones, this is his 3rd tour of duty in 3 years. He's a smart man, studied criminal justice and criminology.
Ready to go.
He's seen a lot of action.
It gets a little easier and easier because you get into that rhythm, you prep your gear,
You get your ammunition issued out. You do your rehearsals, you do your mission briefs, you do your confirmations. You feel proud, you feel aggressive, you feel ready to go right up until that moment that you get on the helicopter and fly off.
Then there's Sergeant Barrow, a 24-year-old squad leader from Bisbee, Arizona, and an unwavering fighter.
When I'm on a combat deployment, my vision's clear. You actually feel like you're doing what you came here to do. I'm doing what I signed up to do.
No one knows that better than Lance Corporal Wildback. At just over 5 feet, he's the shortest of Mittendorf's men, but carries the biggest gun.
I talked to my dad before I left. I'm going to Afghanistan, Dad, and he's like, oh, good, it's about time you become a man. And then he tells me, he's like, just don't be a and I'm like, what? It's like, I didn't expect you to say that. I thought you were gonna like give me a hug or something and like, come back safe. And he's just telling me, he's like, don't be a and I was like, oh, you know, I'll try my best.
Sergeant Kurek is a true survivor, a veteran of the Sanjin campaign, one of the bloodiest of the Afghan war campaigns. He knows the stakes of war better than anyone and leads from the front.
I think everybody gets a little bit nervous. I think it's a good thing. At least for me, it keeps me sharp when I'm nervous. You kind of get that pit in your stomach feeling, but like when you go back home, you miss that pit in your stomach feeling.
Surprise is the key to Operation Branding Iron, which means a nighttime airborne assault. But it's a risky maneuver. It only takes one lucky shot from an enemy RPG to bring them down in a ball of fire.
Here's the last thing I want you to put in your mind before we go in here. This battalion, this company, was in Bellow Wood. Went across island hopping campaigns in the Pacific. Defeated divisions of Chinese in Korea. Battled the NBA Army in Way City. Took on the Iraqis in OIF 1. Battled a tough insurgency in Ramadi. And now we're going to the worst place in Afghanistan. Gentlemen, I've been your company commander 2 years. It's been the proudest 2 years of my life. And there is no place I would rather be right now than with you, leading you into battle.
You know, we're gonna accomplish a mission, and if that takes casualties, it takes casualties. That's my job, to determine what that level is gonna be at.
We've trained hard. I've been f***ing tough on you. Tough as woodpecker lips. Don't forget where we came from. We're about to add another battle to the streamer of Golf Company and 2nd Battalion, 5th Marines. Before we go, gents, we're gonna say a quick prayer. Dear Lord, protect these Marines and sailors as we go forward into battle against the enemy. Protect each and every one of us. Give us the strength to push through the most challenging mission that we've had yet. Destroy the enemy as they become the main effort of Golf Company. And dear God, bring us all home alive. In your name we pray. Amen. Gentlemen, get in your sticks, retreat hell!
I really want to bring all my guys back home while accomplishing the mission.
Years of training have brought them to this moment, but nothing can really prepare them for the reality of going into combat.
A
lot of times we're getting shot at when we come in. You know, sometimes it's RPG, sometimes it's just machine gun fire. When you're on the ground and you're fighting, you know, you're relying on your skills and your instincts and everything. When you're in a helicopter flying in, you're not relying on anything. You're just kind of just sitting there and hoping and praying that it's gonna work out for the best.
If we die, it doesn't matter, you know. Put it in your head that you're already dead. That'll take away the fear of dying. It's like a lot more. It'll make it a lot easier on you. And it's kind of like the mindset you have to have.
They fly fast. There's no moon. Darkness and speed are their best allies. But there are no guarantees. They land in the lion's den. It's go time. The first wave of Marines hit the ground and fan out, and the second wave comes in hot on their heels. That's when the Taliban attacks.
Hey, get back, get back!
The first wave of Marines hit the ground and fan out, and the second wave comes in hot on their heels. That's when the Taliban attacks.
Hey, get back, get back!
They're no match for the Marines' escort helicopters, who use their night vision capability to zero in on the Taliban. The Huey's machine gun neutralizes the enemy. Then a rocket seals the deal. Gulf Company makes it through the first contact with their mission unscathed. By dawn, the Taliban withdraw. Captain Middendorf can't tell how big their fighting force was, or even how many they may have killed. But now they're exposed, sitting ducks in the growing light. They need to find some cover, fast. They're waiting for Lieutenant Neil Jones to clear a nearby civilian compound to use as cover.
Golf 2, this is 6. You got room for headquarters to push in now? Can get out of here and start working? Cover 2. You got a spot for headquarters in there yet? I need to get tucked in quick, man.
Yeah, confirmed. You guys are good to come in there.
And that is on the south side there?
I would go to the western side, the northwestern side.
You can just make sure somebody's at the door for us.
Now they just have to get to the compound, 300 yards across an open field, without getting shot.
When we're out there gunfighting, my mind is pretty clear. I'm doing everything I possibly can to kill the enemy and protect my guys.
My radio took like a dump earlier, just letting you know. You definitely become a man really quick in this game. There's not a whole lot of room for poor decisions. Definitely no room for that.
The compounds are empty. If the enemy was here earlier, they're gone now. But they're out there somewhere, waiting.
The biggest thing you hear a lot of people talk about, and a lot of Marines that have been here before, is that they feel like they're fighting ghosts on the battlefield.
It's, I don't know, 4 o'clock in the morning right now. It's 5 o'clock in the morning. We've been up since yesterday, so we haven't really slept. Maybe got a cat nap here and there. They use spotters, and they shoot from concealed positions a lot, or positions that provide them a lot of cover, a lot of times in murder holes or small holes inside of compounds, and we call them murder holes.
What I tell the Marines, if we've killed all the dumb ones, so tactics evolve, and that's their best way to have a successful attack is to shoot from a murder hole 1,000 meters away and be able to fight another day.
It's time for Gulf Company to dig in and fortify their fighting positions. This is their own Fort Apache.
We just got into our compound. We're setting up security, filling sandbags up to put on our post, and we can find out if they're doing any radio chatter.
Back home, like, they don't even know really anything's going on anymore. They hear that Iraq war ended, and they think the whole war ended, you know? I think it was the same thing. So, hey, there's a war going on, and there are people dying, and there's people, you know, fighting for their lives out here.
Little bush on the left, and then 2 openings right to the right of it.
I'd just be a little old kid, and my mom's friends, they'd ask me, I was like, what do you want to do when you grow up? They'd ask me, and I'd be like, I want to be a mercenary. And what? And my mom was like, no, 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 he meant missionary. You're like, no, I said mercenary. I want to shoot guns. And
The Marines use their Afghan translators to decipher enemy radio traffic and determine their plans.
As a rifle company, my mission is to locate, close with, and destroy the enemy. So when he decides to show his face, I've got the ability to close on him. And I've got some additional firepower that's really going to change the game for him pretty dramatically.
Another weapon in that fight is a T-Hawk, unmanned aerial vehicle. This handy toy allows them a safe and overhead lay of the land.
They're getting ready to shoot at us. It's pretty standard ICOM traffic around here. But it's bad for them because they're not very good marksmen, and as soon as they expose their positions, they're probably going to get killed.
We're fighting on their home turf. They know where everything's at. We don't. They have pre-established fighting positions oftentimes, so trying to get positive identification on them in a murder hole the size of a basketball is extremely difficult. And again, they blend in with the populace. They wear the same that the locals do, so it's not like we're fighting a uniformed force, so that makes it extremely difficult.
The worst part for me is leading up to the firefight. That's the worst. That's when the butterflies are churning. It's when the shooting actually starts. That's okay with me. I'm at peace once that starts.
another day in paradise.
Yeah.
Just made it to where we were supposed to make it to, sort of. And, just kind of waiting. We got a couple platoons behind us over here. But, at the current time, we're the furthest one east right now. Just gonna kind of get everybody in position before we begin our clear down through the village. If they hit us for right now, it'll be from the east over there. As soon as the sun's coming up, where it's gonna blind us. Give it about 30 more minutes once they've moved everybody in position. That's probably where they'll open up from.
That's where they're watching the Marines. Watch them.
Biggest hassle is finding out exactly where they are. There's so many spots out there where they could hit us from. That's one of the biggest things that gets to Marines, is not knowing where that fire is coming from. It's easy to fire back, but if you don't know what you're firing back at, I mean, it's kind of pointless.
The enemy does fight from a long ways away. They do understand their weapon systems. They understand the max effective range and what they can shoot at you from. And they do shoot from, 300-400 meters away with an AK-47, but a lot of times you'll see them at 800 meters to 1,000 meters away because they know how accurate Marines are.
14 millimeters. 16, 14. Yeah. Right there at the edge of those compounds. I think I still see him there, sitting right off the edge of that building. There's a doorway, and then maybe like 10 meters from that doorway to the left.
Yeah, I got it.
Yep.
Gulf Company can't continue their patrol until they eliminate these Taliban scouts. So Middendorf calls in the big guns.
Basically, we're waiting for an Abrams. If you look out there, there's an Abrams main battle tank. We're waiting for it to be able to be clear to fire the main battle tank round at a previously used fighting position. They're going to reduce the building by firing that main cannon. Once the building's been reduced and we get the all clear, our platoon's going to go ahead and move out and continue on our mission, continue our clear.
The Marines destroy the Taliban's fighting position with one shot. Now Captain Middendorf can continue his mission of eliminating the enemy in one of their last strongholds. His radios pick up the surrounding Taliban's reaction.
No, they're getting ICOM traffic. Saying Taliban thinks we hit an IED because they heard the explosion. But they are sadly mistaken. We did not hit an IED. We destroyed their fighting position.
All clear. Second platoon must fan out and clear the next compound of Taliban fighters.
Yeah, we're outside right now, man.
This landscape's littered with mud-walled buildings that provide the Taliban safe fighting positions and offer safe harbor for their drugs and weapons caches.
No, there's plenty of places for them to shoot us from.
And it's up to Captain Middendorf and his men to destroy them all. But first, they've got to get there. And that means crossing more open ground, making them easy targets for an ambush. Since the start of this deployment, Gulf Company hasn't sustained any fatalities yet.
Really, my job is to set my men into motion to complete a mission, whatever that is, maneuvering platoons around the battle space, and then integrating all the different support, whether it be fire support assets, whether it be tanks, logistics, to make sure my guys can accomplish the mission.
Once we're on the deck, I think the confidence goes up quite a bit. Once we are on the ground, of course, the IED threat then goes up, as well as any small arms fire we may take while we're making movements.
See the smoke 500 meters out there?
Staff Sergeant Dusty Sampson keeps his M4 assault rifle at the ready, but carries a Javelin rocket system on his back, just in case.
Back out. Ready now. What was that?
This side's clear.
One wrong signal from their metal detector, and they're dead before they know what hit them. But even these sweepers aren't enough. Not all improvised explosive devices are made of metal. Underground tunnels like this one, or COAS systems, are another favorite Taliban hideout.
2 seconds.
The Crest system is very, very difficult to deal with here. It's a natural water source for whoever lives here. It's been here for thousands of years. It runs north to south, and it's also used as a tunnel system for the enemy to flood fighters to different locations. They store their weapons down there, and it's really an unknown. It's a spooky place.
And this system is so complex that we sent a camera down this thing, and in different areas it would have multi-leveled openings into these things, so they could literally come out of one hole into another, and then complete advantage for those guys.
This one's empty, but the search continues.
Hey, Lo! What's up? Hey, all this is clear.
All right, 2-1, let's go.
One compound down, 2 more to go in this immediate area.
How do you overcome fear? You rely on your training. If you have tough, realistic training, and you do it in a repetitive manner, you have nothing else to go back on other than your training. I think there's been a few instances where some of the Marines have definitely been close in their pants from fear, but we've all adapted and overcome and gotten past that.
I got nothing. Golf 2's got nothing. I'm not in a position to see. I'm going to continue heading east, bounding across this open danger area. Over.
2nd Platoon Gulf Company moves out, deeper into Taliban territory. They're now leading the operation, but they do have tanks in support if they need it.
Hey, Sergeant Barrow, pass it up. Do their best to keep moving. We got to stay out of these open areas. Roger. Moving. Quickly and stay low.
This area is a source of one of Afghanistan's primary cash crops, opium. Over 75% of the world's heroin originates from Afghanistan. The area's fertile soil and general lawlessness make it one of the world's best grow areas. But these fields represent another danger. They're open ground. And right now, 2nd Platoon's totally exposed.
Snaps over my head. I'm like, what the f? And I'm like, like the first thing I thought was someone was throwing firecrackers.
2nd Platoon's pinned down in an open field. The enemy's just 400 meters ahead, fortified in an old concrete bunker.
We've seen a drastic change in tactics of the Taliban in the north here in the last about 12 months. They're very capable as far as a guerrilla force goes. Fighting these guys and taking the fight to them is key to not allowing them to expand their influence.
We're just at a complete tactical disadvantage for about an hour.
Get 2-1 on the hook, Barrow, and have them move out of this danger area.
You guys got anything?
Ready to move, stroke.
And it was the worst feeling, the absolute worst feeling in the world. There's nothing you can do about it. You have, 500-600 meters of open ground to cover. Probably the scariest moment of my life, really.
Six, this is 2. I got to get as far east as I can while these guys are shooting for us. We're stuck out in the open.
Back at the command compound, Captain Middendorf calls in his tanks and radios for air support.
Hard.
Yes, sir.
Got 2 different target locations.
Yes, sir.
One is behind, about 300 meters due east of compound 10.
Yes, sir.
He quickly orders a JTAR request, the call for immediate air support for troops in combat. They scramble the birds as fast as they can from the base in Camp Bastion. But they can still take up to 25 minutes to get there.
Roger. 3 Bravo, you copy?
Any KK. We're gonna be holding here for a sec.
When you get in rounds going over your head and IEDs going off and all sorts of other going on around you, we call it the fog of war. Other people call it like hell on earth, I suppose. But that friction and uncertainty that you experience certainly puts you in a different, gives you a different perspective on everything.
You guys all good over there? All right.
Hey, fast back, tag to take out the CMD.
Hey, Golf 2 wants us to hold right now. They're trying to get a tank to provide overwatch for us, all right?
Yeah, that's a solid copy. We're holding in place, waiting for a tank. We got that tank rolling up, so...
Hey, pass up. Who's firing at what back there? At what? Hey, what are they shooting at? The tree line. Right there? Hey, they shooting at... Boys, you looking? The pretty big tree line right here. It's the only one in that direction.
Pop Romeo 988858. I'd like to have you start looking in those compounds and the tree lines surrounding. That's where we're seeing these muzzle flashes at.
The air support arrives just in time. The attack choppers lay down a steady stream of fire at the enemy's position in the tree line. Giving Middendorf's men time to scramble.
On that. That's A-firm. The tail end of my platoon, my rear trace, is just over halfway through the danger area. Continuing to move east this time over.
You got 2 minutes to get out of this danger area. Tiger's gonna suppress.
But these Taliban are determined and keep up a steady stream of fire. So Middendorf calls in the tanks.
Yeah, they're sitting out. Right about here. I wonder if they're using that bunker we're trying to destroy, sir. What? Look, never mind. It's definitely coming from the tree line. Sorry, you want me to put a couple bursts in the tree line?
This is when I wish I had a grenade. Times like these.
You can't even throw that far.
Yeah, but...
It's a tricky dance coordinating the support Middendorf's men need from a base a mile away.
100 mils right from where he was engaging with his 240.
1-2, Roger. Put another tank gun around about south of here, south to east, to muzzle flash.
Roger, 3 Bravo, you copy?
Yeah, we took contact from the northwest side of the compound directly to our 3 o'clock, 50 meters away with green doors. That tank is
Finally, they make a break for it.
You ready? Let's go.
Oh. Guys on that, and this building here.
Golf 6, Golf 2. Rear trace has about 150 to 200 meters to go to clear the danger area at this time of it.
All the captain can do is listen and pray. But from the Taliban chatter on the radio, it doesn't sound like they're rolling over.
RPG! That came from our left.
We good?
Yeah, my goodness. Where is it coming from anyway?
Suddenly, the enemy tries flanking Middendorf's men, attacking from a bunker. Time for the tanks to take charge.
And they're gonna be blowing a hole in that compound.
Yes, clear, fire.
Hey, go ahead. Light it up. We're good.
One minute gun round on the way.
Yes, clear, fire.
2-3-2-1. Do we have a successful breach?
Gulf Company was pinned down by Taliban fire until their tanks took charge.
It's been the only time the entire deployment that our company, and specifically our platoon, has been at a tactical disadvantage against the enemy in a gunfight, and it was not a good feeling at all. It's probably like 5 minutes, but it seemed like an hour, and it seemed like it would never stop.
But their 15-day mission has only just begun. They've still got a lot of enemy combatants to flush out and kill before they head back to base.
Gulf 6 from Gulf 2. All 2nd platoon is out of that danger area, continuing to move to opposition number 2. We'll get back to you with lead trace, over.
All right, let's get in this compound. I'm tired of standing in the open like this.
2-2-2-1, we're moving.
Another potential Taliban compound, and this one's much bigger. It's empty, but still may be mined or booby-trapped.
Hi, guys.
The Marines take a moment to regroup and make a startling discovery.
What's up? Got a hole in it? Yeah. Nice.
Corporal Mashburn's been shot.
Where's Christopher Mashburn at? Let me see that IFAC, Christopher.
The round probably still inside there because it also would have hit my side taffy.
One of my guys got really lucky. He got shot in his IFAC, which is his medical kit. He got pretty lucky because it was right here on the side. The bullet would have been up a half foot and probably would have gone through his lungs and some vital parts there.
First someone like
punched you?
Yeah.
That's pretty fun.
That's what I joined for, brother.
Huh?
That's what I joined for, brother.
That's pretty exciting, actually.
I mean, it's combat, so not everybody is going to exactly come back home or go uninjured. That's kind of a terrifying experience. But again, it's that adrenaline rush that's out of this world. You can't really put into words for those back at home unless they experience it.
When the shooting actually starts and the rounds are going by your head or, hitting in front of you, I don't like them hitting in front of me. I'd rather them go over my head than hit in front of me. When it's over your head, it's gone. It's past you. There's nothing you can do about it, so you just crack on. You keep going.
When you got your boots on the ground, you can really see why we're doing some of the things that we're doing out here and why it's important. Just don't want to lose the whole war.
Quarterback's fault. But what I'm telling you is if a quarterback's got time, a quarterback can pick apart any defense. Plain and simple. No, you know what? Any defense, if he's got time to throw the ball. If he's not getting hurried and he's not getting sacked, that quarterback will win most matchups.
You are just fighting for guys on your left and your right, and you're not fighting for the commanding officer, and you're not fighting to, accomplish the mission, and you're not fighting for the president of the United States. You're just fighting for the guys that you're with. And you really would, put your life on the line for these guys. You would take a bullet for them. You really would, and I think that's with everybody. There's no better group of guys that I'll ever work with for the rest of my lives than the ones I work with now. I don't think I would ever hesitate to go ahead and throw myself out there on the line just to ensure that they came back.
It's right there, like over the white end.
Morale is high. The Marines know that this is an important mission. When a Marine understands his mission and understands what he's supposed to go do and why it's important, he'll fight with a happy heart.
And out here, that fight never lets up.
Hey, I got somebody out there.
It's a Taliban scout.
Yeah, look directly that way, Brooks. You see you got the series of tree lines out there, about a click out to your left. Just a little bit above it, you should see somebody standing up now.
Yeah. I wish I could see what you're talking about.
The enemy knows golf companies here.
Hey, I got somebody out there.
It's a Taliban scout.
Yeah, look directly that way, Brooks. You see you got the series of tree lines out there, about a click out to
If they don't take out this threat now,
just a little bit above
it could come back and kill them later.
Got a good view from up here. When you're high enough up, it's going to go over the wall.
Okay.
You want this vector? The Taliban scout's out of rifle range, but the Marines can still reach it. Time for the big guns. Staff Sergeant Dusty Sampson's favorite weapon, the javelin.
Be nice to my girl. My baby, the javelin. The javelin has been she's just an amazing weapon system. It's a beautiful thing when that thing goes off.
See, I got 5 individuals walking right to left.
It fires pretty silently of all of the weapon systems. Basically, it shoots out, and it's kind of it just has a big enough explosion to make the missile drop out of the casing that it comes in, and then hovers there for a split second, and then it takes off into the air on its own propellant.
Just to the right of it, you'll see a guy sitting up there.
Okay, yeah, I got eyes on those 3 twins.
Look over top of this compound. See off in. God damn, how far is that? Give me the plur. Give me the plur. Hey, relay to Golf 6, compound 14, all black, AK-47, between building 12 and compound 14, Charlie 5 Lima. 900 meters? Yeah. 900 meters, 70 degrees.
What? Where's your COP in your
Yes.
What's he out there?
One male, all white, PKM on his shoulder.
If they hope to kill this threat, it's gotta be with the javelin.
It pretty much is a silent killer. It gets to the target very fast. Unless you see it coming out at you, then you're not gonna know it's coming. You're pretty much is the truth of the matter.
Yeah, you're clear doing your job now. Go. Just use the Cobras as well. Roger.
Too late, I already.
Want it up yet?
I already roared. I'm already going.
30 seconds to go. Copy.
I lost. No, up. No, the other way.
Right.
No.
That was a faint shot.
Yeah, right on. Hey, Bronze Star shot. Hey, that's Bronze Star shot.
That was a shit right there. You hit him all over.
No, you got him.
You got him.
The enemy does not know it's coming. The radio chatter after I shot the guys that I shot was like, what happened? Did an IED go off? What happened? Like, they just were dumbfounded at the loss. They just didn't know what happened to them.
Marines don't fight fair. That's not war. This is not a boxing match behind the schoolhouse where you put your gloves and your headgear on and you go out and you settle a score. This is war. You know, he shows up with an AK-47, we show up with a tank. He shows up with a PKM machine gun, we show up with a 500-pound bomb dropped out of an aircraft. And that gets your point across.
That's one less compound 2nd Platoon will have to worry about. And one more group of enemy dispatched.
Wow. Man. Woo. I'm gonna let you see me shower tonight, William. It's your birthday.
They still have 14 days left before this mission ends. But the threat never ends.
A lot of guys will ask you, like, do you think it's all worth it? Like, hiking, the patrolling, the weight, the heat, the flies, and the flies. Are you gonna take all that just for that adrenaline rush, that to shoot at somebody? Yes, definitely, it's worth it every time.
why do 18-year-old kids want to sometimes sign up in fights? Because, yeah, they know that you can die. But I guess what? I was invincible when I was 18 years old.